friends, it's Miss Joey, and welcome to What's Growing in Our Garden. So, since it's a little too early to see any spinach sprouts and too early to really grow anything or plant anything new in our garden, today I really wanted to focus on soil and composting. So, today I'm going to teach you a really cool science experiment that you can try at home. I'm also going to read a book about the different types of food and items that can go into a compost bin. And then I'm going to show off our own junior kindergarten's worm compost bin. So stay tuned. Alrighty, so first off, I'm going to show you a really cool science experiment that you can use to check the pH balance of your soil. Now you might be asking, why is this important? So last growing season, some of those plants that we planted in our garden may have either taken away or added some of the important nutrients that our new plants are going to need. And so some of the materials that you will need for this experiment are white vinegar, baking soda, some soil, some extra cups, and make sure to label what you're working with. It's really important, especially when you're experimenting, to know what you are handling. You will need some measuring utensils, specifically a tablespoon, half a cup, and a stirring spoon. So let's go ahead and get started. So last growing season we grew some tomatoes, and so I grabbed some soil from the tomato bed, and I also grabbed some soil from the onion bed. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your tablespoon and you're going to put 1 to 2 tablespoons of soil in each cup. So I have 1 for my vinegar and 1 for my baking soda. So note that they're going to be in different cups. So there's my soil, and I'm just going to set this off to the side because I don't need it anymore. Alright, so first I'm going to do the vinegar. Now before I do this, I want to kind of explain what these reactions may mean. So if it does react and bubble up to the vinegar, then that means I have an alkaline soil that has a pH balance of 7 or 8. And so there's some fruits and veggies that really strive and grow really well in alkaline soil, and that includes oranges and spinach and cantaloupe and even grapes. Now if it reacts to my baking soda, then that means it's an acidic soil, and that the pH balance is about 5 to 6. And some fruits and vegetables that really strive in acidic soil include blueberries and broccoli, garlic, kale, lettuce, and potatoes. So let's go ahead and see what kind of soil we have. So I'm going to take my half a cup and pour half a cup of vinegar into each. All right, so these are what it looks like, and it looks like they're both kind of bubbling up, and they're making some little fizzy noises here. And so it looks like both of these, and you can see the chemical reaction happening right before our very eyes, which is really cool. So it looks like I have more of an alkaline soil, but for the sake of the experiment, I'm going to go ahead and do the baking soda, just in case if your soil doesn't react to the vinegar. So you're going to need a little bit of water, and this is where the stirring utensil comes in handy, because you'll want to kind of stir it up a little bit and then kind of have this muddy look to it. Okay, and then you're going to add a half a cup, or close to a half a cup, of baking soda. hear that bubbling and fizzing over there. So this is also where this comes in handy. I'm going to stir this up a little bit. Now, it doesn't look like it's reacting at all. Either cup is just kind of sitting there not doing much or reacting much to it. So again, wow, look at this. So that's my tomato and that's my onion, and it looks like both beds have more of an alkaline type soil. So then I can either add some compost to my garden beds to kind of change the pH balance, or I can grow things such as oranges and spinach and cantaloupe and much more fruits and vegetables that like alkaline pH soil. So yeah, so there's your experiment, and you can try it with your very own soil, and you can comment below if you did this experiment and tell me what kind of outcomes you have. Alrighty, so today I'm going to be reading Compost Stew, an A to Z recipe for Mother Earth. For the Earth, excuse me. Ingredients: apple cores, bananas bruised, coffee grounds with filters used, dirt clods crumbled, eggshells crushed, fruit pulp left behind, all mushed, grass clippings, hair snippings, and an insect or two. Just add to the pot and let it all rot into compost stew. Save jack-o'-lanterns, kitchen scraps, laundry lint from dryer traps, mulch removed from garden beds, nutshells, oatmeal, and paper shreds. Quarry dust, rye bread crust, and seaweed strands a few. Just add to the pots and let it all rot into compost stew. Take tea bags plucked from long hot swimmings, underbrush prunings, vegetable trimmings, wiggly worms with compost cravings, Xmas tree needles, yellow pine shavings, and zinnia heads from flower beds, but whose blooming days are through. Just add to the pot and let it all rot into compost stew. Moisten, toss lightly, cover and let brew. And when the cooking is complete, Mother Earth will have a treat. Dark, crumbly, rich, and sweet. Now open the pot, and what have you got? What do you think? Compost stew! So lots of yummy things going on in there. And that, my friends, was compost stew, an A to Z recipe for the earth. So, are you ready to meet my nice wiggly worm friends? Come on! Alrighty, are you ready to see my wiggly worm friends? Alright, so you might be asking, why is composting important? And, well, let me tell you. Because it adds some of those really good nutrients to the soil. So remember when I did that experiment testing the pH of my soil? Well, if I add some compost, I can change that pH balance to fit whatever I need or want to plant into my garden. So how cool is that? So then you might ask, what exactly goes into compost? And that's a great question. Basically, anything except for meat and dairy. Now, if you add meat and dairy to your compost, it's going to get really sticky really fast. And that's not a good thing. But you can add leaves, old vegetables and fruits, shredded newspaper, and so much more. And I'm forgetting something. What's so important for composting? That's right, worms. Worms are very helpful in breaking down some of those contents that you add into your compost bin and turning it into really rich soil for the garden. And it also helps prevent some of that food waste. So I'm going to try to find a little worm friend in here, and you can come over and take a closer look at the junior kindergarten's worm bin. So as you can see, we have some eggshells, we have some lettuce, we even have some old newspaper clippings, and there's some of my worm friends, but they don't really like the light, so they try to get away from it. So here is one of the little worms. Hey, say hi. All right, I'm gonna put him back so that he can get back to his job of composting. So you may want to know more information about how to compost and have your own composting bin, and I will provide some resources for you to read up on and to start your own composting bin. So until next time.